against them.
Yeah.
Now he has to battle up against what seems like new, fresh blood that has a brighter future.
Yeah, well, his first chance to do that, though, will be against the likes of Kabe here and now as we get into Champion Select for game number 1 between OMG and Jingdong Gaming. Froxco, thank you so much for your analysis. She'll join us after the match to help break it down, but running through, we've already got Karma, Thresh, and Zac banned away, along with Jarvan, Caitlyn, and Galio stricken by Jingdong.
It's surprising that OMG are the ones that had to ban out the Zac, usually a priority ban coming on red side, but it seems like OMG is not really too keen on first picking it. So they've actually banned out both Thresh and Zac, which have been first pickable champions. They seem to have something completely different in their mind. I wonder what it's going to be.
Lulu is still available? Yeah,
Oh,
immediately
look at this guy.
locked in. Hey.
You know what? You got it. You got the touch.
Well, right now it's like the support meta, right? Or not the support meta. Has there ever actually been a... No, never mind.
Nope.
But the support priority picks have been so important, especially as Karma gained so much power flexing just last split.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Remember, yeah, you mentioned it. Last split, it's been the struggle, or at least the push and pull between Karma and Lulu.
Yeah.
Karma's not there, and of course, Thresh has been banned out, so you might even see them going back to the usual supportive poke bottom lane supports. With we saw a little bit of Zyra in the last set. Might even see it coming through on Mao this time around.
Yeah, we certainly could. As Jingdong, they've picked up what could be a top laner for Kabe, carry, not exactly his most prominent style. Then again, it could just go to Doinby or even Logan. Like, Doinby will actually play anything. And Shinyi on that comfort pick of Elise.
Yeah, Doinby is definitely crazy enough, and we've seen a few Fnatic VODs to believe that Kennen AD carry is still well and alive.
Yep.
That's fair.
Another thing that's exciting is we get to see World 6 get to take his Lee Sin.
Oh, yeah.
I think World 6 is one of the few names where it's like, you were talking about it with Pulse earlier, all junglers should be able to play Lee Sin, just like all supports should be able to play Thresh.
Yep.
But World 6 is one of the few where you should actually be afraid of that Lee Sin.
You should be, and Lee Sin's always been that styling pick where there would be a few players that will play it, or at least feel very comfortable on it on stage. And if you have a bad game on it like Clearlove did yesterday, then you get shamed forever. You're done. You're out of here. But
he's been playing for years.
But if you come out, you look stylish on it, then suddenly people have to find countermeasures against your Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Who do you pick up against it?
Do you
want to pick it away from him?
Put him on Kha'Zix or Rengar, an assassin.
You don't want to make that decision.
Yeah, he was also hovering the Gragas a little while earlier, but with that, we've actually now got our 80 carries picked up as well. SMLZ takes Kog'Maw, a huge champion for him, whereas Loken is going to be taking something a little bit safer with that Ashe. And we've already got Echo and now Braum taken away.
So already JD Gaming have chosen what they want to do. A lot of pick potential coming out of this, and meanwhile, of course, they have the top lane Kennen. You might even see Jace get banned away. Jace has been one of the picks that you go into the Kennen. I wonder if Xiang's going to be willing to pick it. There's also been a Cassiopeia top lane going up against Kennen. I forget which team picked it up. It was Khan, actually, and Longzhu Gaming. So there have been a few picks, a few cheese picks that are going up against Kennen, but Kennen's just so damn strong as a blind pickable champion right now.
Very comfortable. Kabe has hopefully been on top of the meta and practicing this. Kassadin now going to be banned away from Doinby as LeBlanc follows up Icon's Echo ban. He was absolutely huge for them in the playoffs just a few weeks ago, and his assassin play was what almost single-handedly carried them through the first and into the second round of playoffs. So they've got to respect that, and Jingdong, I can't believe it. Is Doinby actually going to do something meta and just blind pick Syndra?
I mean, I really do hope so. I didn't really like his Kassadin play, and I'm thankful that OMG just banned it out. It's not that he's a bad player, but it feels like if they don't have the early game answers, then they struggle in making those early game skirmishes really work for them. They'll just take them anyways because it feels like they're either greedy or they're just too confident. I guess that's the same thing, but confidence, it works well up until obviously you have no reason to be confident.
Yeah, and with Doinby being the heart and soul of the team of Jingdong Gaming, it's so important that he's on something that he feels empowered on because he is a hugely emotional player.
Oh no.
And that's now Shen and Lulu locked in for OMG. And Icon, is he just going to bust out the big guns and take his signature Ahri? This could be OMG just going 0 to 100 real quick.
They're all picking their major champions. Every single one of OMG have their major two-pick champions. You see the Kog'Maw on SMLZ, picking it before it was cool. Shen on Xiang. We had a little bit of a conversation where he's just the Shen player through and through. People were banning Shen away from him. World 6 on Lee Sin. Ahri being picked up by Icon. And of course, I mean, 5 would rather pick a hard engage support, so I guess he's the only one that's left out. Thresh was banned out, so I guess he doesn't get that for himself. But Lulu, he's picked it up in tandem with SMLZ's Cog Bump quite a bit, so I'll give him a pass.
Yeah, absolutely huge setup so far from OMG. They have got something planned for them. And now Jingdong Gaming, you mentioned they had a little bit of pick potential. Well, now, last second pivot, it's not Nautilus or any more pick to go with that. It's, oh no, we need to protect someone. Tom Kench to scoop up someone who might get caught out of position from OMG, because these fights are going to be dicey.
Yeah, they already have 3 prong picks coming in from Syndra, Elise, and Ash.
You don't really need that many more,
you,
do you?
You don't need more, and you need someone to protect from. Let's say if a Shen taunt comes through or if an Ahri charm hits somebody. It's a safe way to get out of that entirely. So. Safe picks. You already have a decent lane here, so I like what I see from both teams. Comfort from OMG, and pure pick and early game skirmishing from Jingdong.
Yeah, and it should certainly be an explosive matchup, because it looks like Jingdong, they're going to have their work cut out for them in this matchup, especially considering their performance against LGD just a few days ago. They still had that distinct Chaogu flare that is now the Jingdong flare.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain that's something that follows Doinby everywhere, but that flare alone is not enough to win games against I hesitate to say top of the name teams, because that's in reference to LGD. I can hear Frost backstage. She's probably jumping up and down. But against even the likes of a team like OMG, who are rising towards the ranks of top level teams, Jingdong have got to show us some growth.
If I were to look at Doinby, just looking to the Raz dictionary, right beside him.
What do you see?
Right
is it under special?
No, this one's defined. This one's actually has something beside it. It's hectic. It's chaotic.
Oh yeah.
No matter what team this man joins, it's just absolute chaos in team fights, absolute chaos in skirmishes. He is very confident when you see fights. If something sparks his mind, he wants all in on that fight. Sometimes he's proven wrong.
It's like an artist. Sometimes he sees something and he is compelled to make art.
Yeah, sometimes that painting is worth $5. Other times, it's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece, yes. I think we can all recall, what was it, week 1, week 2, their 55-minute victory against Team WE. The 2-screen length kick from Clid to secure them the game. Absolutely huge play potential for the team, but with that potential, there are high highs and there are also low lows. Listening into the audience now.
A lot on the line here for both teams. We had a bit of a discussion about this one. Both teams considered middle of the pack. Not so much OMG. It looks like last split was a big showing for them. Jingdong having a really disastrous day 1 for themselves, going 0-2 to LGD. They don't want to go into week 2 0-2.
Yeah, getting wins are really important. I really love just how the crowd, as we see OMG now invading, how dedicated the crowd is to OMG. We talked a whole lot about the fan bases for some of these teams and how massive they are, but OMG seemed like they were having a real crisis of faith in the very beginning of Spring Split just a few months ago, where they stuck with the same roster. They were kind of in the chaos in the scrum in the middle of the pack for their group to climb up, and then they started to pull it together and see growth, and now they're continuing this momentum into the summer split, so it must really be vindicating for the fans to see this growth. As Kabe, what are you doing there, bud?
He has all the reason to be. He's not going to, like for instance, when he goes to the lane, it's going to be the same time the Shen goes into the lane, so you can skirmish him, scrap him a little bit.
Yeah.
But just to your earlier point, the fans have a lot of faith in the team. It reminds me of, let's say, a CLG of North America. Even when the team is not having a good time, when they're losing game after game, fans, the popularity vote, will find a way to be in their favor. Yeah,
Frosco loves to talk about the effect of the 6th man, the effect that a crowd chanting your team's name can have on your gameplay. And this is something we see all the time with WE and IG.
Yeah, which is kind of make the whole prospect of franchising. I mean, we're going to have this discussion much more in the future.
That's a big discussion.
That's another one altogether. But if you ever get an entire arena in your favor, it looks like they already have that. The home court advantage. Maybe it's for them this time around.
Yeah. Jingdong Gaming still going to have to work to achieve that fan advantage, but they might just be able to start that if they take a win here over OMG and show that they can actually start competing for that first place spot. It's still very early in the split, day 2 of week number 1, so they've got some time to grow into this new roster and really find some synergy together, but we'll have to see if they can start here.
Yeah, speaking of growth, Xinyi, it's always, you always have to look at this guy with a bit of a, I guess, a magnifying glass to see if what can you like pick apart from him. Frost said earlier on, not a lot of videotape on the man.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't had a lot of playing time. But when you do see him play, what differentiates him from Split? Because Split is the playmaker. You already mentioned an iconic moment from him in the last Split of his incredible Lee Sin plays and mechanics. Now Xinyi is going to be on a Elise, not very heavily like a mechanical champion.
Yeah. If you can land the cocoon and repel on time,
there we go.
Then you're great.
Yep. I just want to see what he does. How does he pressure with winning lanes, which is going to be, of course, DoNB and Kabe. Both of them are going to be in a great position of pushing in this lane. Let's see. This is going to be his first start.
He's actually creeping forward. He's in spider form right now. Repels to a minion.
Okay.
With red buff, and he's just going to force Icon back. So burning a little bit of mana there. And you can see even Icon's playing safe on the Ahri. He's taking the cleanse as well, knowing he's into that Syndra matchup.
Yeah, so he was hoping that he can get Icon to utilize his cleanse. Not going to use Flash at all, because of course he still has that available to him. But now I want to see what's happening here. Yeah, in fact, Xinyi left mid lane. He should be helping DoNB push this lane out. He doesn't have any mana to his name. He needs a proper time to back. And if he pushes this one in, okay.
He's trying to play very carefully. He doesn't know where World 6 is, as he was actually just in the river. So goes for the maximum range wave clear. You can actually see the Mia pings onto Xinyi. So it seems like Icon was well aware that Xinyi was still there as well.
Yeah, so I guess it's a bit risky, because you don't want to find yourself in a play where DoNB's just pushing, trying to hard push to get a proper back timing for himself, and then gets ganked because of the earlier setup.
Yeah, and he actually held onto his recall for the next wave, so Icon gets the first recall in that lane, and opts for a second Doran's Ring and an All Magic Mantle, and now DoNB is able to get his. That means Xinyi playing a little fun game with himself. Yeah,
just clearing that out so Kabe doesn't have another route to worry about in terms of World 6 getting through the lane. But yeah, it's always worrying to see that. I guess Icon choosing the back now just gives him a bit of a push advantage. He's going to come into the lane earlier than Syndra. He's not going to be able to get a gank off immediately unless if something crazy happens. But what that does mean is that he's going to be able to decide if he wants to hold the wave or push it up to allow for a play to happen. You can already see where Lee Sin is right now. He's going to be a little bit more confident coming through the lane.
Yeah, World 6 is sweeping down. Xinyi is nowhere to be seen. DoNB falls back, but the Raptors spawn in World 6. He has his priority set towards those jungle camps, so we'll decide to clear those out instead. Xinyi, wow, he is going fast. He went straight for Mobies. Did they see World 6? Wow! Not Elise.
I mean, they kind of got a glance of him. They know that he was in the area. Yeah, it was smart. Mobi's boost is protect your Raptor cap.
Yeah.
Protect DoNB, because it seems like he's going to be the major target. Crosshair on his head.
Yeah. It's almost Condi-esque when you know that your lanes are pushing so aggressively and you've got that Elise. What better way to supplement them by showing up, landing a single cocoon, and perhaps feinting a dive, but still, of course, having the option to actually dive.
Yeah, there's just a bit more tension to it. You can get out of that exactly right. That was incredibly well done from Icon.
Good moves.
Solidly played, but it comes to a point where he needs to, like, all of these plays, any one of them, anyone connects. If Lee Sin comes in to, like, the Raptor steal, as we saw earlier on, if he gets picked up by one thing, be it Syndra's stun, or, of course, the cocoon coming through, that's a kill, or a cleanse, or any sum. And that's going to be the first start that Jingdong is hoping for to get this game rolling, to get it starting. Other than that, it just makes the game a lot more, I guess there's more tension in the air.
Yeah.
And that just means that OMG is going to be a little bit slower to start off in anything. They're not going to be going aggressively in any of these plays.
Yeah, it's like tightening a string on a guitar. How far can the tension go? How high can you raise the pitch before that string snaps? For now, looks like we're still slowly rotating. Not quite finding too much action just yet as the junglers continue to move around the map. Almost level 6 out of both of them. Meanwhile, top lane, we've got both of our teleports burned as well. But of course, Shen, with that Stand United, can make something happen elsewhere.
I like what I saw from World 6. He purchased Caulfield's Warhammer, immediately refunded it, and then got the longswords into the, of course, the warding.
Tracker's Knife.
Tracker's Knife. So he just knows, A, it helps him out because he's least in. He's going to be able to get more kick opportunities once he hits 6. But also, you know what, be able to track Xinyi as well. If you can track Xinyi and make it so Icon doesn't have to worry about ganks, as he had been getting constantly pressured by Xinyi, then that means he can get to like level 8, level 9. He can get to a position where he can utilize the vision control in his favor. Right now, there are 2 control wards in each side of the river against Icon. It should be an OMG's priority to take them down, right? They need to be able to clear that up so Icon can actually have an ability to roam top side, or even roam bot side, or just to feint. Because if he can feint, then that means he has pressure on Doinby.
Yeah. Right now it is fairly even as World 6. I believe he spotted out Xin Yi. Xiang's there, and immediately he flashes. Doesn't want to break the tension.
But that's great. That's great for OMG. That means that there's no flash plays that Xin Yi can actually utilize.
Oh, but they're setting up a dive. Cocoon goes wide, but Xin Yi's still going in, eats a taunt, and immediately gets bursted by the turret. They're trying to get the kill as Mao shows up in time, and the rotation from Jingdong for a quick first blood. Oh! No! World 6 is exhausted. He dashes back. Great reaction from Mao to keep his top laner alive.
Yeah, Lee Sin, maybe he's thinking about sticking around, but he has to back away because Syndra is moving in as well. Really well played from Jingdong Gaming. The entire play, I was a little bit, I was questioning Xin Yi. I was like, wait a minute, why are you trying to
walk
dive
into a turret?
Yeah, he's trying to dive a Shen under tower. But of course, Mao is able to get them in there, level 6, gets the immediate roam out.
With Loken.
It is a random roam because there's still like a laning phase happening in the bottom lane. They just chose to push because they had the shoving potential from Loken, and immediately look for that play topside.
Yeah, and the person who did get that first blood was the passenger to Mao's roam. Loken, he's now got a BF sword and Zerker Greaves before heading back to the bottom lane. So not only are they getting that first turret, unlocking more pressure out of Kabe, who's actually hanging out on the bottom side of the map right now, but they've also got that additional gold on Ashe, a very important AD carry, as World 6 is trying to sneak that away as Kabe decides to give up the Gromp. And World 6 and SMLZ and 5 are there as well. They're spotted out, but there's no chance that they can spike this.
The reason why Kabe is sitting in the bottom side of the map is not so much to contest this dragon. Doubt they even knew it was happening. It was because the wave was so far down in the top lane that Shen was able to pick it up. If Kennen shows himself topside, right near to the enemy inner tower, he's asking for himself to get ganked.
Yeah.
That is just him putting himself out there far too much. So he's just trying to take jungle creeps, jungle farm as he can, and then finally hit the wave topside when it does bounce. So that was smart from him to do that. That's a veteran play, honestly, from a man who only came in one split. So smart from Kabe.
And here's Icon on the roam. As you mentioned, the control ward spotting him out. He actually did loop through the brush. Wow. Brush, yes. He's like, it's brushy. And finally, we'll start to clear out these wards with that Scryer's Bloom. So now that top side is unlocked, but there is still a little bit of leftover deep vision placed by Xin Yi and Mao after they cleared out that top tier 1. So they should have eyes on World 6. And Xin Yi is sitting on that side of the map as well. Is he going to replace it? Yep, immediately does.
Yeah, but that one has a timer at the very least now. That, yeah. So that's going to work out well for Icon, that he still has a little bit more breathing room. I want to see where he can look to go, because you don't want to lock the Ahri into the mid lane. It's going to be up to World 6 to see if he can unleash him. Bottom lane is going to be a big priority because top lane got unlocked a little bit, and you don't want to ever like look to gank the Xiangling. You want Xiang to leave the lane, look to Shen ulti onto SMLZ or 5 to get the play going.
Yeah, Kabe is sitting outside of vision right now. This is actually going to end up slow pushing away from him, but he has his teleport coming up in a few seconds, and he knows that Xiang did go for a recall, so this could be a window of opportunity. But OMG, they're starting to move around. Now that Icon has his level 2 boots, he's paired up with World 6 and is just dipping in and out of vision.
This is a key moment.
Oh, Doinby just goes for the ultimate, burns the Spirit Watch, and Xin Yi gets spotted by World 6. There's the burst. Xiang shows up as well for moral support.
Reason why that was so key is because OMG just very recently, just off that play, was able to finally gain control of mid lane. Both sides, sure, top side, Jingdong was able to finally retake the control with their wards, but bottom side they were able to put down the control ward, take it away completely. They didn't see where Lee Sin was, and so the play was finally made even though Icon was chunked down to half HP. Xin Yi didn't know it, and so it was a bit of a surprise to him, as we're going to immediately get the replay. So it looks like, yeah, Icon is in a bad position, but bam! Immediate burst, and World 6 kicking just to make sure he goes down.
Oh, and now they've caught him again. This is Doinby running out of the river. Xin Yi on respawn chases and then dashes to his team.
Oh, no.
Icon lands a charm, but eats Cocoon. He used his cleanse earlier. Luckily, Mao says, let's get the hell out of here. Can't quite make up his mind, though, as that poor Spiderling is wondering where Mama went. And the fight disengages.
That was very, very tricky for Xin Yi. Once again, his head was out there. Got charmed out by Icon, so it was great for him to be able to counteract that with a cocoon of his own. And Mao was there to be able to gobble him up. So I like that Mao was in the area. He's going to be very key in the later fights because now that Icon was able to move out, he's unlocked himself a little bit. Mao is going to be incredibly important with his exhaust, but more importantly his gobble as well. If he can get the important swallow, then of course Icon's going to have a little bit of a difficult time.
Picked, yeah. Because SMLZ or Icon opens up onto a priority target, then keeping them alive, generally a good thing. Kind of wait out those cooldowns and try to turn it around. I think that's what we saw with Xinyi sort of walking forward into the river there and then suddenly realizing, oh no, I've gone too far. So hopefully he will get another opportunity to fight again. Currently 0-1-1, not too great, but luckily the kill that he did give over went to World 6. So at least it's not on Ari, at least it's not on Kog'Maw. It's the small things you got to take away.
That's true. And if I look towards...
Yeah, speaking of small things being taken away, red buff.
It's going to be a little bit tricky.
Oh, that was actually Smite. They engage onto World 6. The burst is not enough. He attacks Rift Herald, but World 6 flashes away. Xinyi again overextends. Turns onto Icon before sidestepping the Orb of Deception. Kabe tries to follow through, but Icon is already out of there.
World 6 smited for health. He smited the big man, a Rift Herald, to be able to survive that. And I think, I don't know, I'm pretty sure, I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Xinyi, he did Q World 6, but it just wasn't enough damage because of what I mentioned. So that was great for World 6 to be able to get out there with just a sliver of HP.
Ooh, don't reset it. There they go. And that's now Rift Herald taken off of the back of this fight. And while they did disengage with a sliver of health, we're starting to see how much more explosive these sorts of fights can get. Icon getting larger and larger. We've already got the completed jungle enchant from World 6. Xinyi did go for Runic Echoes along with some big damage out of Doinby.
What's worrying for me for OMG, with Rift Herald going on Jingdong, they have such a strong composition to making pokes happen, making picks happen. Sure, SMLZ picks up this tower, but I want to see where Xinyi takes that Rift Herald into the mid lane. Suddenly that's going to force OMG to group up as 5 to be able to stop that. And it's going to be up to, of course, OMG to be able to combat that while not losing too much. SMLZ still needs a little bit more time to get his Runan's Hurricane. Still has Blade of the Rune King. So
he's just completing it now, or actually completed it a little while ago. If you can get that Kog'Maw online, that's going to be massive. Dragon's up in 15 seconds, and with that recall from Icon, mid lane is actually undefended, and Xinyi is right there. Kabe's pushing in a large wave top, and Xinyi is on his way. He breaks open the eye of the Herald. She will charge forward. Can Xiang defend his turret?
They're calling an audible there. They actually just sent it just out of vision going to the bottom lane.
Ooh, Charm catches Xinyi. The turret goes down, and Xinyi will die to Xiang as he's forced to drop on top of the Shen. Icon chases forward. There's a slicing maelstrom, but a knockup follows through. It's 4 members of OMG against 2 of Jingdong, and Doinby should be retrieved by Mao over the wall here. The flash chase. Icon finds Kabe and is going to be able to put him in the bin as Xiang finally secures that kill. Meanwhile, SMLZ has been defending mid, so a turret for 2 kills created between OMG.
And that is definitely in favor of OMG, and it all started with Xinyi getting picked. I like the idea that he had with Rift Herald. It looked great. They didn't see where it was coming from, and when it was finally landing, then suddenly I was like, okay, someone has to stop this.
Yeah.
But the charm coming out of Icon to just pick him out once again, Xinyi immediately dies, and that's just a free fight for OMG. If Xinyi didn't get picked off on that one, if he was cognizant of being right beside the wall, and so the charm was available, then that would have been clearly in Jingdong's favor. But just a great setup and a great play from Icon.
Yeah. Jingdong now, on the back of that, will recover and head towards the Infernal Dragon, taking it and running away from a very strong OMG. SMLZ has been farming up a storm. He is on clock for CS on Kog'Maw, which is dangerous in and of itself, but he also hasn't recalled in quite some time. Last time we checked in with him, he had the exact same items a few minutes ago. The stone-faced SMLZ looks to set Jingdong even further behind. Let's see what he's going to complete.
Ooh, he sold the Dornish Shield. He's sitting a little bit. I think he's waiting for another item. Zeal. Okay.
Not quite enough.
Okay. So that's a big point, because it seems like even when the play was happening, SMLZ was still farming out or holding the mid lane. Because you mentioned it, he's just waiting for his key points where he can get to, let's say, like the 2-item.
Runans and then Guinsu's
exactly.
after.
Yeah, so we might not see the Guinsu's, but we'll see what he looks to go towards. I guess in the past it has been Guinsu's, so I can say either way, it's just his preference on that one. Either way, that's SMLZ's focus. Everyone has their headsets listening to team comms. The man's just listening to 70s hype music.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so interesting to look at how Jingdong are sort of prioritizing this as they continue to play around Kabe. They continue to play around Qinyi as Xiang, left all on his own, is exhausted and goes over the wall. Arrow is going to miss, as the Devourer is not going to be enough as well, so he walks away with his life. But again, OMG, they are just putting SMLZ in a side lane or a mid lane, allowing him to free farm while everything else is happening, and he is prospering because of it.
Now, there's going to be a bit of a mind game here. OMG are just going to look to pressure. I wonder if they're going to push into the next tower. It's going to be a big question mark because they're actually in a losing position. Jingdong are pressuring both mid lane and bottom lane. They're going to constantly push out the bottom lane, but it was good that the TP came through in mid, just to push that out. Yeah,
it was actually canceled as Xiang is going to run bottom to try to defend his tier 2, as it is a tier 2 race, but with Mao trying to set up vision, it's a little bit slower for Jingdong. Xiang shows up in time, and there's still no one defending top. OMG continue to push through. There's still no defense. Finally, Doinby is completing a recall and racing out, but he doesn't have home cards yet. Xiang will retreat from the defense as the tier 2 has already fallen, but this is an inhibitor turret going down from Jingdong, not responding fast enough. Great stun, the ultimate onto 5, but he shields himself up and gets a stand united. Ooh. And SMLZ takes a big hit, but suddenly that Unleashed Power looks a little bit tastier on Kog'Maw than the Lulu.
Yeah, tough ending for OMG. They were going on to the third one, but just a little bit too much damage. A good setup from Doinby.
Turret is still standing, so they've got that at least.
Yeah, I want to see what Mao does here, because my big focus is, of course, they were pushing onto the bottom lane, but they still had the option to immediately rotate mid based off of Mao's ulti. They decided not to do that and just get resets, just to go back on base, purchase some items, and head out. Which is, I guess, it's a smarter decision, especially since Ashe just finished up IE and Runans for herself, so she's in a good spot.
Excuse me.
Woo!
Wow.
Get it out there.
Yeah. It still seems like we're seeing the same issues with Jingdong Gaming. It's just not as crisp and clear. All right, we've got 3 bottom, they've got 3 top. We'll send someone back to defend. Who are we going to send? I don't know. You? No, I'm defending bottom. I'm defending mid. Like, where does the clarity come from? Should we be looking to Doinby? It seemed like when we did see success with that, it was when Ali was still on the roster, and Doinby and Ali could bounce off of each other for those calls.
That's true. And this is a bit of a... It always has been a bit of a worry for Jingdong that they have been cycling out bottom lanes, specifically the support. Of course, Ali could play due to health reasons and had to retire. And so they've just been finding someone who's worked with the team or can work with the team. And it seems like Mao has been that support that they're giving a chance to. Didn't start out in game 1 of their first set versus LGD. Went into game 2. So I want to see if this is a permanent solution for them.
Well, so far he has a 100% kill participation ratio in this game. The 1 assist to the 1 kill that Jingdong have got.
I'll give you that. 21 minutes of 4 kills out there.
Yeah.
The man is perfect.
It is, yeah. But I think it does speak to how the teams are playing and what Frost was talking a little bit about before the desk. We're seeing a little bit more of a patient style from OMG. This isn't the skirmishes left and right. This is a patient macro game as Doinby tries to get some burst down. Finally, Jingdong, they've had enough of this patient game. They break down the mid-tier 1. And OMG, how do they respond?
Oh, you might see Kabe looking for this. It's not going to turn into anything. That's fine. It's just the pressure that's constantly being laid out, right? You mentioned the mid lane pressure coming through. They finally get themselves a tower. The bottom lane pressure, and that's going to be a constant for me. It's going to be up to OMG to look for these burst fights. Start out with Ahri and see if SMLZ is safe enough to continue those fights.
Icon so good with that Charm and Banshee's Veil. He takes the stun in the face just so he can land better trade damage onto Doinby. This is what you were talking about. They found Kabe bottom. He's got flash, but that's not going to give him a chance.
I wonder what that means now. 30-second death timer on Kabe. Baron is still up. And if you are OMG, the one thing you want to look towards is a neutral objective. It could be the Baron, it could be the Dragon that's coming up in just 30 seconds. They can choose at any moment. It's 20 seconds of basically time being spent, especially with Doinby being topside. That's free vision towards the next Dragon.
it still seems like we're seeing Jingdong play a reactive game against OMG, who are content to take these favorable trades, who are content to find a pick here, maybe a little kill there, whereas old school OMG, you can't have said that at all. They want a pick? No, they're going to take a pick and they're going to chase it all the way down to a turret. But nowadays, this is almost like a new iteration. They're trying to force a fight. SMLZ, excellent cleanse. There are 3 cleanses popped back to back to back as all of the crowd control misses.
You're going to be able to get this dragon too. So the TP. Oh, wait a minute. This could just be a trade.
Icon's backed away, trying to get some help there as 5 gets vision onto the Baron. Jingdong have rushed to the top side of the river, perhaps to feint OMG into it as Mao. He scoops up Xinyi and rushes towards the mid lane. They're trying to force a fight as SMLZ flashes over the wall to safety.
This is very hectic. It seems like Jingdong didn't want to completely commit to Baron, but they lose Dragon anyways. All right.
And World 6 gets the Dragon and gets out. Despite the push and pull, the tug of war that Jingdong Gaming were setting up onto OMG. OMG keep cool heads. They burn a summoner here, a summoner there, and they're able to dissuade a fight and just walk away.
Yeah, that was interesting. I feel like Jingdong should have just committed either to Baron to force a fight with Ash pick, or just to go straight towards Inferno just to stop them, right? They would have definitely been stopped if they'd gone straight for them. I guess the benefit is that they blow SMLZ's flash.
Yeah.
So that's going to mean a lot in the next fight. I want to see who's going to be the one who's going to be able to stop that. I guess you can look towards Loken's ulti, because he was also able to blow QSS as well. So that's the only thing, but that window is closing up pretty quickly.
Yeah. And already we can see OMG making this an even more difficult situation as SMLZ sets up just outside of the range of that turret and begins getting a few hits on. Kabe's still bottom with no teleport. And OMG have said, all right, you send your top lane to split push. We're just going to try sneaking the Baron over here. 5 shows up. SMLZ is there as well. And Jingdong Gaming, finally, they get some idea. Xinyi rushes forward.
He has to look to steal this. Kabe is making the trek over, but he doesn't have TP. I guess they're going to back away entirely, but that actually could have been a fight that OMG looked to gone towards. I guess they didn't know how fast Kabe was making the trek over, but didn't have TP. He definitely had to come over.
So Raz, I got a question for you.
Is
this OMG perhaps giving a little bit too much respect to Jingdong Gaming? Constantly sort of baiting out these fights, taking the small pushes, the small objectives?
I would say it's definite respect. For certain, it's definite respect. Remember, this is the second team that they faced against in Group B, and it's definitely a slow approach to the game. Slow in, like, relatively than what we've used to been seeing.
OMG, yeah.
OMG is definitely a hectic team in a lot of cases. Play around the constant playmaking force of Icon. Oh, they just don't know this is happening.
Oh, man.
Oh, now they know.
Doinby shows it. Oh,
what are you doing, Doinby?
There goes the ping immediately, but Baron is already being shredded down. Blue Trinket on top of it. You've got Xiyoung racing towards the pit, but Doinby is going to help Xinyi secure it. Perhaps this respect might be hurting OMG a bit here.
Yeah, that's way too much respect.
Yeah.
But that was really well played from Jingdong. They just hop over the wall using Tahm Kench ulti and just the blast cone as well, you can only imagine. And they're able to get a Baron for themselves. Sure, they lose this tower, but they're going to take that trade any day of the week.
You can see the ping going down to the final standing Tier 2 turret of OMG right down the mid lane. And with 5 members of Jingdong racing forward, with the exclusion of Kabe, who's now heading towards the bottom lane, as his top laner is wont to do, this could be a little difficult for OMG to defend against. Luckily, though, they do have a lot of wave clears. Icon starts firing some shots across, and SMLZ starts to set up behind the turret.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit too oppressive. There's no way for them to really look for anything, especially since Icon is not in a flanking position. SMLZ has no mana. They need time for SMLZ to go back to base and come back, which means that this tower is probably just dead. There's no way for them to defend this. Next wave is going to take a while, though. So they're probably going to be banking on that. It's a long time.
Just demonstrating the effect of an overshield as Icon has been spotted out by a ward. He's set up to flank, but Jingdong know this well in advance. The charm goes wide and the minions will crash in. A stun catches SMLZ, which prevents him from clearing out the wave fast enough, and the Tier 2 will fall.
Xinyi has been eating charms the entirety of this game, so it's good to see that he was able to dodge out in that one. He expected it coming from Ahri. Had it had landed, and that would have been a positive fight for OMG. Not happening this time around. The Baron that they had turns into that one tower.
It's now starting to create this interesting scenario for Jingdong Gaming. As they've cleared out all of the Tier 2s, we're getting to the point where the damage that they do to a single target is going to be huge. I mean, they've got the Cinder, they've got the Ashe, they've got the Cannon, but it's against the likes of Lulu and Shen and a Banshee's Veil Ahri. Can they possibly burst out a target, or do they just play the objectives like this?
It's I guess I would say no to both, because they can't group up as they had been doing before. They could group up in that instance because they had the Baron.
Yeah.
And the previous one is the single target. They don't really have team fighting as well. Kennen wants to sit in the opposite lane and look to just constantly shove out. He has Frozen Mallet along with Runans and Blade of the Rune King, so he can look to punish the Xiyang, who's built poorly for himself. So for me, they should stick to these side lane strategies, put Xiyang in an opposite lane, or at least try to hold back Kennen, and just pick up number advantages. If they can get fights for themselves that is 4v5 or 2v3, just based off of where Xingyi decides to play towards, then that is a win, because they cannot match them 5v5.
Now, Jingdong Gaming have set up a siege both bottom and top. It's a 1-4 split, and Kabe is doing a lot of work to the top inhibitor turret. You can see even uses the slicing maelstrom. And now OMG are pulling back as Kabe is set to almost solo kill Xiang Icon. Can't quite make up his mind. Luckily, it's in between minion waves, so he doesn't have to worry too much.
And Kabe has the sustain. He can stick there. Shen cannot. So they are on a definite timer. OMG have to do something about top lane. That tower is going down. Shen has to back away.
Yeah, it finally will fall as Icon is forced to burn a cleanse as Doinby lands a stun. Kabe working on the inhib. World 6 shows up just as Kabe backs away, but that gives a little bit more movement to Jingdong on the other side of the map.
And so who's going to be able to deal with Kennen? If Lee Sin walks top along with Shen, Kabe backs away. Suddenly it's a 4v3 situation in the bottom lane. Immediately, Jingdong is in a positive position. This is the constant push and pull that right now OMG and JD Gaming are constantly in. The only positive that OMG can go for, hope for Icon, maybe get some vision on the top side of the map, so if this play happens once again, they can go on to Kennen without him actually knowing that it's happening. There needs to be a setup, a surprise setup. Otherwise, Kennen's is going to be constantly just zapping away with his E. And OMG's bottom side of the map is going to be constantly pulling away as well.
Yeah, using that lightning surge to escape. This is now Jingdong Gaming with the better positioning in the river and the patience to wait out the retreat from OMG, taking Mountain Dragon. It's 2-2 in Dragons, which puts Elder at about a 36-minute, 20-second spawn. And for a brief window of time, now the Baron has fallen off from Jingdong Gaming. No inhib has gone down just yet, so OMG still have the chance to fight for map pressure and map presence. But slowly but surely, Jingdong Gaming are opening this game up. They're 4,000 gold ahead right now and looking to expand that even more.
Yeah, and just to kind of hit on, because this is really good for Jingdong. It's a really good setup for them, and they're never going to leave it. It's going to be on OMG to find a way to force them out of it. I touched on Xiang's itemizing a little bit and why I felt it was poor. Like Sunfire and the Randuin's Omen is justified because he has to stick to this lane. It's so much the adaptive helm that he's not going to be utilizing much at all, right? He's not going to be using it up against Kabe. It's going to be the magic resist for the team fights, and it's going to be just to counteract the ulti constant damage coming from Syndra, but you shouldn't be afraid of it. I would much rather him be on a Spirit Visage so he can have the, of course, added HP, added CDR. I think it would be much better suited for him in this case, and I would definitely much rather prefer him on the armor boots. So he can constantly deal with the poke that he's just been dying to. Yeah.
Kabe's been doing a great job on this Kennen, showing himself to be very proficient on the champion.
I questioned him too.
Yeah.
I didn't think he can do it. I mean, Kennen is pretty easy to work around, but I'm just saying that the team playing around Kabe's strengths hasn't been something we've seen before.
Yeah. At best, those strengths that they've played around were Shen. Move across the map, now we're going to 5v4 because they weren't expecting a stand united.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Kabe once again, like playing towards the team, playing towards Doinby. If Doinby's on Vladimir, you'd have the Shen Vladimir Lulu nonsense, where he somehow Doinby gets off 40 or 50% of the team's damage, gets like just ridiculous numbers.
That was Victor.
Yeah.
Iceborne Gauntlet Victor.
He had himself beat Vladimir.
We're never going to let it down.
It was a constant force for him where you just get ridiculous damage done to champions.
Yep.
This time around, it's going to be around Kabe. So he is a great top laner. No questions about that. Want to see if this is a consistent point for him. He has a BF sword, so I guess he's going towards IE next.
Yeah, so now that Baron is up in 30 seconds, we can see OMG moving forward a little bit more on the map, trying to clear out some of the vision from JD Gaming and setting up some wards of their own around that Baron pit. But JD, they've already got tons of wards on the other side of the map in that blue side jungle for OMG. Though most of them are starting to clear out. There looks like there's only 2 left, one by blue and one in Try. Kabe's already set up on the bottom side of the map to clear this out, but here comes World 6.
Yeah, World 6, the moment he shows his face, that's a Baron going to be started on the side of Jing.
Yeah, the fight breaks out. Xiang gets a slow with the Randu. His immediate flash kicked into the wall, plus some execution damage. Kabe goes down, but as you said, the moment they see World 6, they have turned onto the Baron, and now they're forced to back away as the remaining 3 members of OMG rush forward.
And they have to back away simply because Ari was coming through. Shen has stand united, so Icon can be enabled to break up that whole entire Baron fight. So OMG find a way back in on that entire constant pressure that Jingdong were putting down. Jingdong with a good amount of gold in their pocket, like a 4K gold lead for themselves. But now they have to wait until Kabe comes up once again.
Ooh, Doinby finds a flank on the side. He gets a stun onto World 6, drops the ultimate, and forces out a wild growth to keep his jungler alive. Still, we've got Xiang holding onto his stand united and his teleport as he sets up bottom. Still no sign of Kabe for another 10 seconds, but he does have teleport coming up.
And that just resets pressure. Time is not going to be an issue. Flash coming in from 5. Wait for Kabe. Send him back to the bottom lane. Once he gets in the same position where Xiang has to run away because he can't deal with him anymore, then you can see Jingdong already in position. Nothing's going to stop him from being there. Seeing he's taking a lot of damage, that's one thing that can stop him.
If the jungler is dead, generally a great way to prevent Baron.
Yeah, there we have it.
As World 6 is healing up, luckily that Ocean Dragon should top him off after a period of time. Doinby chases SMLZ away. And again, just the threat of a pick from Jingdong Gaming. If they land one single bit of CC that's not cleansed in time or CC comboed, then OMG are going to be in a world of trouble.
That's true. And you can see the constant pivoting between lanes and Baron. Jingdong, they're not going to be starting it for 50-50s, though I could be proven wrong.
Ooh, there goes the cocoon onto World 6. Charm misses Xinyi as Doinby is split up with Loken, protecting his AD carry. Kabe gets a recall after he pushes him bottom and now can walk towards his team.
I wonder what he purchased, because him backing at that time.
GA.
Okay, so he actually had the BF sword for the Guardian Angel. So that's going to be fine. He's going to be looking towards team fights more likely than not, then, because I would have liked IE if he was going to stick to the lane. It's a much costlier build, of course. But we'll see what he uses for this. Now, if he goes back into the bottom lane, you can see he's already setting up. People already resetting and going back to lanes. They're just going to constantly go back to it, because I don't think OMG have a response other than trying to pick on Kabe. And if they try to do that again, he has GA, so he can live a little longer, and they can make the play happen a little easier towards Baron once again.
Once again, the team's fighting over vision, dropping wards on wards on wards as Kabe, level 18, splits down bottom and tries to pull the attention of Xiang once again. Is World 6 going to head back down, or will it be someone else who has to try dealing with this Kabe? Because like you said, this is the winning strategy from OMG, but now that Elder Dragon is up, could throw a bit of a wrench in the works, change the dynamic of the map, as now Jingdong, they're forcing a fight over Baron.
And Kabe is just in a proper position to TP. There comes the TP.
It's being started by Kabe and is completed. Xiang has got to stand united still ready, and Baron did not fully reset. They burned through its health as Doinby retreats from the backside. SMLZ is exhausted. He puts his back to the wall and eats a stun, a cleanse to get himself back. He's firing there, but they've already dropped the jungler. Xinyi's there as SMLZ is running away. Flash from Doinby. He gets a stun onto Icon, but SMLZ is trying to do some form of damage, trying to do something, but he just could not find the right position, and Jingdong Gaming take 2 kills and the Baron.
Excellent play, excellent setup from Jingdong. They send Kabe to the lane to TP. It looked awkward at first, but as you mentioned, Baron was still live and not resetting. So they were able to get it nice and cleanly, and the fight on top of that, it looks like they're going to be focusing on the Elder Dragon as well.
Yeah, during the recall timing of OMG, they rush over to the Elder Dragon using that Mountain Dragon buff from earlier. And now, with double Mountain, Elder Dragon, and Baron, this is Jingdong Gaming, excuse me, a double amplified Mountain Dragon. They could set up to break an inhib line. They already broke one turret earlier, but here's that fight again.
Yeah, just take a look at it. This is just basically, yeah, Baron's going to go down. Doinby doing a good job to set the line. He takes a lot of damage, but exhaust onto SMLZ, taking a lot of... Just look at how many spears are out in the field. SMLZ had to back away. Lee Sin doesn't have that luxury of a cleanse or QSS, so he's just going to die immediately. And from that point forward, I love this. Didn't even turn into very much, even though he gets so much damage out of it. But that's a major win from Jingdong. One thing I do like was, as they were taking Elder Dragon,
Doinby already recalled and went top.
Exactly.
To start prepping the wave, which you can see is being pushed by Kabe right now.
That was very key because that was a big wave top lane, and if they had not, or at least if they had sent all people towards Elder Dragon, okay, get out of there.
Yeah, getting a little overzealous. Gets chunked down to half as Doinby has found World 6, but a Locket keeps himself safe as the rest of Jingdong now head towards the bottom lane, and Kabe returns to his natural environment, splitting in the side lane.
And just take a look at take a look at that tower that goes down. That was fast. But the waves are coming through too. Top lane wave. Kennen already taking down the inhib.
That's one. Inhibitor down. Jingdong Gaming bring the minion wave further and further in. Eventually they have to draw the line, but the question is where? SMLZ is there. Flash Charm dodged by Loken.
He tried so hard to get Loken, and that was a key miss. Not even a miss. The guy dodged it, as you said.
Yeah.
And so the fact that it was dodged mean that's, I feel like that was the last play OMG could have looked towards in terms of putting the game back in their favor, or at least stalling the play. It's going to be a lot harder. They lost every inhib you can lose.
Now with 3 inhibs down against a Baroned up Elder Dragon Jingdong Gaming. Things have never looked more dire in this game for OMG. They've still got their Nexus turrets, so it's something. But is it enough? I mean, Guinsu's still no sign of it from SMLZ. He decided to go for the Maw of Malmortius Trinity Force after. So not going to be quite the super mega Kog'Maw. He's still up at the super Kog'Maw levels.
Yeah.
Not quite the tier above.
Still, I would like to call it. I would say Death Kog'Maw because I remember these.
Yeah.
Sure, Trinity Force was the primary build in previous metas. Changes from time to time now.
Yeah.
But it gives you a little bit more utility. He's gonna struggle a little bit. He would not be making use of the movement speed because he's gonna get stunned down.
Absolutely, yeah. He eats a single bit of crowd control.
Yeah, so it's gonna be really struggling for him. And you can see what the rest of Jingdong have done. Just purchased all the elixirs that you can buy. This is gonna be the last stand for OMG.
Push to end the game. Double super minions coming down mid, top, and bottom lane. SMLZ luckily clears them out nice and quick, but he's already got 3 stacked up on the other side, and Kabe behind them. They managed to tag Loken. He's saved up, though, as World 6 goes deep, and they continue kiting forward. SMLZ is firing away. He gets Doinby. The 80 carry is dead, but Kabe's on the Nexus. He's just going to win the game. Here comes the rest of OMG. They're going to try to stop him. He's brought Shinyi as well, and Kabe calls the bluff of OMG. Shinyi's the one who gets the last hit. You see the hands for Chaogu go up, Jingdong, as they take the win in game number 1 over OMG.
Incredible game from Kabe. That's something you'd like to see, and it showcases an additional strategy that they can go towards. The Kennen pick worked wonders. They played around it. First time you play around the Kennen pick rather than playing around Be the man in front of your face. Wow.
Very good performance out of Jingdong Gaming, taking it nice and slow. A couple of trades looked a little bit questionable as they can now see all the damage dealt on their screens and share a laugh. A couple of those trades didn't quite look as clean as you'd like, but they had a game plan and they stuck to it.
I mean, if you're looking for clean trades when it comes to Jingdong, you're in the wrong place, my friend. We're going to see some hyping nonsense, and I think we saw that with a little bit of smart. I thought this was incredibly smart from Jingdong, or at least comparatively to their previous games. We saw them play around their primary compositional point, like for instance Kennen, split push. That's what they played towards. Bottom side, they had the pushes constantly being pressed, and they held on to the strategy rather than going for hypey plays, which has been a problem from them in the past.
Yes, and now joining us to help break down this game, the landslide of gold, is Indiana Frost Gear in Black. Welcome back.
Thanks. It was a very chaotic game.
Yeah.
It was a very messy game. I think that's what we expected when it was OMG versus JD. I'm happy that JD won. I like the fact that you used this word hypey because I think it fits for both of these teams, but I'm going to use another word, and that's going to be momentum. And it's particularly that guy.
That is way more than 50%.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. But JD works so well with momentum, particularly when Doinby is ahead. When their shot caller, when their captain has all of that pressure and that fire behind me, suddenly they look so much cleaner and much more decisive around the map. Unfortunately, that didn't happen till the very end, but at least we got like a nice star-studded finish.
Yeah. Pushing for the Nexus at the very end, Kabe, I am so impressed that he had the gall to not join his team when they're fighting, just half a screen away and go for gold, to run to the end, to run for the finish line.
Yeah, I was like, gosh, should I join this team fight? Should I amplify Doinby's team fighting? No, I'm just going to stick to the sideline.
Yeah.
So even though he didn't have a lot of champion damage, he demolished those minions.
Oh, yeah.
He demolished the HP of Shen and those minions specifically. Screw you, minion. All right, go on.
And it was nice to see that eventually their communication worked out in the end. Because my biggest criticism throughout that game is looking at JD. I'm like, wow, these guys cannot talk to each other at all. First and foremost, you had the, 20-minute inhib possible trade from OMG where you're like, JD, hello, is someone going to go back and stop OMG? And you're just like, question mark? And then you have the indecision, are we doing Baron? Are we doing the Infernal? They just give away the Infernal Dragon and get chased off of the Baron anyway. Then they have when Kabe's pressured forward bottom and he gets picked off and Baron can't be taken because JD haven't cleared out all the vision. Like, there were so many different instances where cross-map communication just was not plugging into that team, and it kept stalling out the game longer and longer. You know, they attempted to do a Baron at 32 minutes, and they didn't actually get the Baron until 38 minutes. So, like, that big window was just caused by having to reset the map, not setting up correctly, not communicating what they're doing with their side wave cannon, and eventually it did work, but it was more so on OMG messing up than JD actually executing perfectly.
It did sort of reach that volatile tipping point once we saw the strength that Kabe was able to put, and there were a couple of opportunities for them to shut him down by collapsing on Kabe, which we saw, and from then the numbers advantage to stall out that Baron play, but the lack of momentum that we saw from OMG off of the back of that seemed like they were trying to commit towards this patient macro style against Xiaogu, which is always a dangerous thing.
Well, a big problem was the Kennen pick in the team fights in particular. Kennen is so poisonous against Kog'Maw because he can't step forward. Even if that ultimate doesn't hit him, it just creates a wide enough zone where, despite Kog'Maw's range, he's not able to sit and spit and do the damage that he needs. You saw that in the Baron play where SMLZ had to keep kiting back, and he couldn't lay down the damage that he very well had.
Yeah, and even though we did mention it was a messy game from Jingdong, the reason they were just in a position where they could fail. They failed like a few times around Baron. They lost certain team fights that they had no reason of losing, but they can constantly get back on the map because as long as they stalled off and pushed away a Baron opportunity, then they still had constant pressure in lanes and side lanes and mid lane with how well Doinby was playing. So it felt like they did mess up, but they just kept going back at it, and it felt hard as a Kog'Maw player to be able to walk up, as you mentioned, because he was farming up a whole lot to be able to join a team fight.
67% of his team's damage. I'm fairly certain that's a new record. I'm pretty sure he just broke his own record for most percent of his team's damage.
I don't know if that's necessarily Doinby just being a god at this point, though, or the rest of his team. You know, we made that comment at the very beginning. When Klid's not there, that means that they're super binary. Like, one guy carries that game, and that's it. I think that this is just a symptom of that. Like, this is all the 4 supports in Doinby.
Because, like, who's going to be doing the damage? You look, I guess, the Kennen, but Kennen is just split pushing, right? So there's the only damage target he's going for is Shen and Tower. He was doing a lot of structural damage, but it was going to be the Syndra that was just demolishing people.
Yeah, it's one of those sorts of things where it's like, look at the total damage dealt. I did so much. And then look at the total damage dealt to champions. I did so much more. Yeah.
I think that's just if you are on Jingdong Gaming, you're going to have this whole, not so much problem, but the benefit of being a mid laner where it's like, I guess I'm a Vladimir. I guess I'm like, what was the other big Victor? And my entire team is to support me with Lulu, Shen, Ulti, all that nonsense.
So that actually creates a bit of a dangerous scenario for Xiaogu. If they have to rely so much on Doinby to be so huge for them, is this sustainable in the long run? I mean, even with some of the other, I guess, bigger name teams, when you look at them sort of building entirely around one individual person, if that person doesn't show up on a day, or if they're feeling sick, or if their opponent can actually match their level, the team struggles and doesn't see success. Can Xiaogu see success with this?
We already saw that exactly play out when LGD beat them earlier. It was the fact that Doinby had back-to-back Cassidy games, and the Cassidy just got shut down and couldn't do anything.
Yep.
And if Doinby can't do anything, guess what? JD just lose the game. So your question already has an answer, Dom.
Yeah, so it happens. There'll be days where Doinby shows up, and he is a consistent force. Remember, he was the MVP of Spring Split, so there's a reason to be circling around this man.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he can take game 2.
Yeah, we'll certainly have to see if he can pull it together and put another great performance on the board after that MVP that we just saw. He's still got his work cut out for him, though. Hopefully, we'll see if he can recover and continue to move this momentum forwards. We're going to go ahead and get ready for a break in just a little